It's really not that bad. Okay, so we're going to complete the square to vertex form. So, what do we do first? You have to still participate even though I'm videoing.
Right.
What do we do first? We got to group our x squares and our x's together, right?
Yeah.
Okay? I'm going to start calling on you randomly if you don't participate. Okay, then what do I do?
You add.
You have to take out the 2. Okay, now I noticed when I was helping some people, when you take out that 2, it comes out of the x squared and the x term. So this would be x squared minus 2x, and then I put in my plus blank. Is that okay that I combine 2 steps into 1? Okay, then I still have my minus 3. Then I'm going to have a minus a blank. Okay, but what do I have to do with this one? Why do I have to multiply by 2? Right, this one gets multiplied by 2, so this one has to be multiplied by 2. Okay, then where do we go from there? B over 2 squared, right? So what's my B now?
2. Negative.
Negative 2, okay? So negative 2 over 2. So it's negative 2 over 2. Negative 1, and what's negative 1 squared? 1. Positive 1. That will go in both of our blanks. Okay, another common question I've been asked. How do you know if it's plus or minus when you go to do your perfect square? Does anybody want to answer that? How do we know if that's going to be x plus 1 or x minus 1? Okay, so whatever your b over 2 is, this number right here, before you squared it, if that's positive, this is a plus. If that's negative, this is a minus. That's all it is. Okay? So it's based on what your b is. If your b is positive, then this is a plus. If your b is minus, negative, this is a minus. So this would be x minus 1. Okay, then if I simplify the outside, this is negative 3. And then what's negative 1 times 2? So what's negative 3 minus 2? Okay, that is vertex form. What else do we have to find? The vertex. So what's the vertex of this? 1, negative 5. Okay, and why is it 1 and not negative 1?
It's opposite.
Good. Okay. You 8 up here are all working on number 2. Okay? Okay, you 8 are all working on number 3. You 8 are all working on number 4. Okay, and when I mean all of you 8, try it, but then like talk to people in your group. Hey, what'd you get? Hey, what'd you get? If you get done with your problem first, no, then maybe you could try a different one and see if you know what you're doing without me talking you through it or other people helping. And you can move around and talk with people that are in your group. None of these will have fractions until you get to number 4. Number 4 has weird fractions. You're welcome. I figured you guys could handle it.
Right.
After you solved, I do expect you to check with your groupies.
Oh, yeah, you divide it by 3. I'm pretty sure. Wait. But you're divided by 3.
Yeah.
To find this, it's b over 2 squared, right? Not 2
B over 2.
That's what I've been doing wrong this whole
B over 2A is when you're doing your axis of symmetry. You already took out the A. Okay. Does that make sense? Because we already factored out the A? Okay. So we already took away the A, so it's just B over 2.
Okay, I'm gonna give you like another minute, and your group is gonna tell me how you did your problem.
Do we have to find the vertex too?
Yes. And they're both numbers of fractions in your problem.
Almost done.
Or did we get the same answer?
Does anybody want to volunteer to do number 2 on the board?
Would you do it after you factor out A?
Does anybody that did number 3 want to volunteer to do it on the board?
Don't have the A in.
You want to do it green or blue? Your choice.
That was the end.
Okay. Absolutely.
Two
Do you guys want to volunteer to do number 4 on the board? Anyone?
Because you have to factor
You
out
want to do green or you want to
x
do the
squared,
blue?
just x squared. You can't have number 9. And then you take
Before you go up there, are you okay being on video?
I forgot the negative.
Okay. You don't have to say anything. I just want to make sure you're okay with your bodies physically being up there.
Bailey, are you done?
So it would be plus 3.
What did you get?
I don't. 36.
You want to do blue or green? Blue or green?
Those are really good numbers.
Finish it.
I don't know what to do. I don't even know that I got this right.
Oh, that's not the right number. It's 9. Okay, so it's B, so we're -6 over 2, which is
That one?
-3.
It's under the other one.
Have your groupies help you out.
Oh, wait. Oh, so that's what. This one? So then you do the whole. I thought she said.
Who's right? Brooklyn? Not me. Lexi? Good work.
Oh. I get it.
And then you do your X. kind of square. What's up
I know.
here, here. Whatever that is.
Don't forget your squared on your parentheses.
Just square them.
I'm so close to it so far.
You're welcome.
That's all I have to do.
So you can't. Josh, you should have made it one.
Okay, these are all correct. I know you only have to do one of them. You can write them all down if you want to write them all down. You can leave the one that you have written down. It's up to you. Okay? What questions do you still have about vertex form? The biggest thing that you guys are forgetting in general is when you factor out a number, you have to, when you subtract, you have to multiply by the number. So like there, and here. Don't forget this step. Otherwise it changes your y value on your vertex, which then changes your whole graph, which then changes your zeros. Okay. You feel okay about this? No, what's wrong? What's confusing? You have to be able to tell me, or I can't help. We factored this down. So we took this and we factored this. So multiply to get 9, add to get 6, 3 and 3. So this factors into x plus 3, which is just x plus 3 squared. So instead of doing all this work, we made it into a perfect square and we're able to do this shortcut. Okay, but it's essentially all you're doing is factoring. Okay. Other questions you have about vertex form? Completing the square? Do you understand the difference between solving by completing the square and vertex form completing the square? Okay, so it's different if you don't know and you're afraid to ask. Solving, you're trying to find the zeros or the roots or solutions, whatever you want to call them. Okay, vertex form is putting it in the equation, that way you're able to graph it. Okay, last thing I want to just introduce real quick, because we're going to talk about tomorrow. Does anybody know the quadratic formula off the top of their head?
Or a.
What goes in the square root? Okay. Now, does anybody know how this came to be? It came to be by completing the square. Okay, now, if I were to split this up, does everybody agree that it can be split up this way? I can take the denominator, put both parts of the fraction. Okay, now when you're completing the square, the formula was b over 2, correct? Okay, this is close to b over 2. Why would it be negative? If I were solving, why would it have been negative? Okay, well, let's solve this equation right here. This number right here was my b over 2, right? Okay, why would this sign change when I solve for x? Well, if I solve for x, what would be the first thing I would do? Before I would divide, what would I do? I would add 5, right? Okay, then what would I do? Then I would divide by 2. Then what do you do after you do that? Square root. Has anybody figured out why the sign changes yet? And what do I do now with this number? It gets added to the other side. So when I solve for x, when I get x by itself, this number right here gets moved to the other side. So that accounts for a negative. What about this a? Where's that a from? Or where did that a go when we complete the square?
Axis.
Okay, so axis symmetry is what? What's the formula of axis symmetry? Which is this number right here, right? Okay. Where did the a go when we completed the square? It goes in front, right? We already took care of it, we got rid of it. That's why this formula right here is just b over 2. Okay? So we're going to talk more about this tomorrow, but the quadratic formula is directly from completing the square and solving for x. So I know you've just memorized this, or kind of have memorized this, all right? But it comes from completing the square. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Now let's turn off this and I'll talk about your homework.
Aww.